Good afternoon and very warm welcome to all the members. Today, today our topic for the VCM is very important in practical aspects. Today topic is accounting for CSR project. And for today's topic, our speaker is Gopal Krishna Raju sir. He is a practicing chartered accountant, registered insolvency professional, and a registered valuer from Chennai. He served consecutive 3 terms of 9 years from 2010-19 as Southern Indian Regional Council member of ICI. He has been recently awarded honorary doctorate in governance of GST in government sector by St. Mother Teresa University, Melbourne, Australia. He is the independent director, Data Bank, and have qualified with distinction the online proficiency self-assessment test conducted by Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. He has authored 2 books, Standing Costing and Variance Analysis for Professional Students, and First Lesson in Information Technology for CA students, with the 2 editions by Snow White Publisher, Mumbai. He is a seasoned speaker on information technology, finance and taxation, and a visiting faculty for numerous institutions. He is the member of Institutes of Director, Bombay Chartered Accountant Society and Madras Management Association, and life member of Society of Auditors, the Chartered Accountant Study Circle, and an active Rotarian. As a versatile speaker, he has addressed more than 500 plus meetings on GST to various forums, including professional bodies, Chamber of Commerce, Industry, and Trade Association in both English and Tamil. With this, I'll request CA Gopal Krishna Raju to take over the session.
Yeah.
Sir?
Thank you very much, CA Shakun Goyal, for coordinating this program. And very good afternoon, my dear professional members across the length and breadth of the country. At the outset, let me first thank the CSR committee and the entire team behind this committee for this wonderful opportunity to share my thoughts on the New Year Eve for 2022. And very aptly, they have chosen a topic, accounting for CSR projects and for CSR expenditure. This particular subject, when it got the attention of the media because of the introduction of 2%, I will call it as a mandatory compliance with respect to spending. From that day onwards, we can say close to, we are now on the 6th plus 7th year running for this compliance. And over a period of time, this law has matured a lot. So I will say from 2014 onwards. So we are now in 21, almost it is over. So 7+ years or 7th year running actually. The subject has gone through a tremendous change, and it has come to a level where it is mature. And still a long way to go. I will start this discussion with 2 things. And I will highlight based on the latest development. And then I will take you into the accounting aspects, which is very, very crucial. There were times when we used to have the financial statements like manufacturing account, then trading account, then profit and loss account, and appropriation, all this stuff. Today, it is not so. It is only profit and loss account. And 2% of your profits, average profits of the preceding 3 financial years or preceding years, it has to be spent. And if it is not spent what will happen? That was a question unanswered, but today we have an answer for it. Now, when I will call this as a regime, which was either comply or explain. 2% you spend it. 50 lakhs you have to spend 5%, 2% of your profits. It is coming to around 50 lakhs. I only spent 10 lakhs. I have not spent 40 lakhs. The reason why I have not spent 40 lakhs, you have to explain. This is how it started. But today, we are in a scenario where we need to mandatorily spend 2%. And if it is falling short of 2%, same example, I will take 2% of your average net profit is 50 lakhs. Only 10% I have spent towards CSR. The activities as per Schedule 7 of the Companies Act. The remaining 40 lakhs, I have to ensure it is also spent or it is transferred to unspent CSR account. So meaning I have to mandatorily spend 2% of my average net profit. Friends, from 2014 till 2021, this subject has gone through various developments. And I will share with you the recent. I will now request tech support J to kindly enable my screen sharing so that I will be in a position to share the various. Yes, thank you very much. Good. Well, friends, I will share with you some of the important developments that took place. And from there, I will take you through the accounting aspects. Before I share my thoughts on the accounting part, I have to take you to the significant developments which actually mandate us the importance of accounting for CSR expenditure. I want to make one more observation here that in the recent past, we didn't had such a significance for this particular topic, but in CA final, recently a new chapter are being introduced. This is the last chapter. In the financial reporting, this is the last chapter. The chapter number 17 of CS final, CSR. You will wonder, okay, what in CA final the CSR will speak about? It is more about law. All these years, it was only about law and compliance. Section 135 and the company's CSR policy rules 2014. That's all. So it was only law and compliance of this law where accounting came. So today we are in a scenario where accounting of CSR activities or CSR expenditure is very significant because of the various turn of events. So that various events I have to actually present before you so that the significance of accounting we capture a lot. So this is only to give you an idea that how latest our CA final syllabus is also. Now, I will take you to two important developments. One is the notification dated 22nd January 2021. So, we are in December 21, 31st December. So, in January, we had a notification. I'll say a substantial change are brought in through this notification for the rules, the company CSR policy rules. Not only with respect to certain changes in the definition. It starts with the definition of CSR. You'll be surprised, CSR is defined and they have made some changes with respect to definition. With respect to the administration expenses, how much that can be spent. So I get only 10 lakhs, I spend 9 lakhs, 8 lakh or 9 lakh, 8 lakh, 80% I spend out of 10 lakhs, 80% I spend for administration. Is it so salary, rent, ityadi, all this I spend. So whether it is acceptable. So ultimately, this law today has taken a shape that corporates are sustainable or corporates are able to sustain in this country with various support from government, but they are taking the help of the society, people, and the society at large. So therefore, it is the responsibility of, I repeat the word responsible, that is what is called social responsibility, to give it back. Corporates have to give it back to the society. And what was voluntary, for example, companies like ONGC from public sector, in private sector, I will take an example of Tata Group. What was voluntarily done by such companies, even IOC as a public sector, they were doing it. And it has now become a part of the law. And it started just like that. But today, the kind of complications, the kind of complexities in presentation of this information has actually made the government to actually think forward and bring substantial amendments. So I will take you through some of these important amendments, especially relevant to the accounting part. And there is a circular. This is that particular circular. This circular is dated 25th August 2021. So in this circular, there are innumerable information you will come across. But I want to make one observation here. Please look at this para number 3, where previous circulars are superseded, especially starting from the 14th 21 General Circular number 21/2014 dated 18th June. So in suppression of clarification FAQ issued, a set of FAQ along with is hereby its annexure. So it is a 22-page FAQ, and total number of questions are with respect to various points. So with respect to reporting and disclosure, I'll take a few aspects. With respect to reporting and disclosure, impact assessment, with respect to CSR enforcement, then with respect to treatment of unspent CSR amount, then with respect to ongoing project, so then with respect to implementation is purely with respect to compliance. So questions with respect to implementation, then CSR activities, then with respect to CSR expenditure, these are all clarity they have given in the law, and with respect to framework and applicability. So the first 5 headers are nothing to do with the accounting part and the disclosure part, but the next topics are very much relevant for the accounting and disclosure. So I will start my discussion from the sixth para, that is the ongoing project, and with respect to unspent CSR amount, all these aspects. But before going to this, I have to give a clarity on the 22nd January 2021 notification, so that the 25th August 2021 circular will actually add value. Now, let me first take you through some of the important aspects. Friends, we are all aware that I'll take you to this particular point. Yes. We are all aware about 135. So I'll go point by point I will go. First point which I want to share with all of you is 135. 135 is the applicability. So where net worth is one method, turnover is one method, and profit is one method. So definition of net worth, the definition of turnover, definition of profits, all this stuff has been explained. So I will not go to those aspects. I just want to reiterate your memory so that I'll go to the main aspect. So 135, the first point is with respect to the applicability. The second point which I want to share with all of you is the CSR committee. CSR committee is very significant role they play with respect to, please look at the CSR committee has to formulate and recommend to the board. Okay. Is this the only role for them? Now, 22nd January 2021 notification, they have casted one more. There is an additional cast of responsibility to the CSR committee. So slowly, one by one, I want to connect to the respective development. So let me take you to the, so please go to rule number 7. In rule number 4, please look at rule number 7.4 as well as with respect to CSR expenditure. There is a important aspect I want to share. So we understood that as per 135, criteria has been kept, and as per 135, the 2% board has to ensure that at least 2% of the average net profits of the 3 immediately preceding financial years has to be spent. This is the provision of the Companies Act. Now, they have given a notification throwing some clarity on it. Now, please look at this. The first aspect with respect to this 2%. Schedule 7 of the Companies Act, they give the list of items which are covered, which is corporate social responsibility activity. Now, the entire 2% should I have to only spend for the beneficiary? If I have to do the spending, there are some administration activity are involved. Till this notification came, this administration expenses was not in the thought of the government at all. I'll give an analogy. In Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, annually close to 12,000 crores to 15,000 crores are received from abroad. from 85 countries. India receives money. And out of this, 90% and above money is received only from top 10 countries, which include United States, European countries, etc. And just imagine this particular law, as per the foreign contribution, original mandate was you can spend maximum 50% for administrative. 50%. My God. So 50% means what? It doesn't go to beneficiary. It is only consumed by the operational entity. So the profits, it has to go to the beneficiary. So 2%, if the same logic of FCRA applies here, then 50% people are spending more on admin, salary, that, this and all. So that is why even in FCRA also, they have curtailed that percentage, they have reduced it now to 20% there. And here, the board shall ensure that the administrative overhead shall not exceed 5% of the total CSR expenditure of the company for the financial year. So if it is 50 lakhs, 5% means 2.5 lakhs. So 47.5 lakhs should go to beneficiary. I repeat, it should go to beneficiary. And for your information, the kind of activities that are given in schedule number 7 is this. Please look at, this is your schedule of activities. So it starts from schedule number 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 95% it has to be spent for these activities. So that is your first concern. And who has been given the responsibility? It is the board. The moment you say board, that is the CSR committee. The board shall ensure that the administrative overhead shall not exceed 5% of total CSR expenditure of the company for the financial year. So the board can delegate it to the CSR committee, and there is a reporting that has been mandated. So you have to give a format. So whatever you have spent, you have to report it in your board's report, your annual report. So there, this one line item must come. So that one line item, what is the amount that has been spent? So this is one important aspect. So please keep this in mind, administration expenses. Now, once these things are there in our mind, then we can go for the classification in your schedule 3, whether you are coming under division 1 or division 2, Ind AS or non-Ind AS. In the profit and loss account, there will be total expenses. In the total expenses, administration expenses, so you will have the purchases, then you will have the selling and distribution, the administration expenses, other expenses. So one line item, there you have to mention what is your CSR expenditure. Sometimes classification, for example, project related expenditure, 95% is project related, 5% is admin related. So should I have to include this in administration overheads, or should I have to include it as CSR expenditure? No, please wait for some time. I'll come to the disclosure part. I'll come to the accounting and the disclosure part. I'll connect it together. So, but these things have to be kept in mind. Why accounting is significant is because of all these developments. Okay. Good. The fourth point, which I want to bring your kind attention, is this. And especially I want to bring your attention to this 5 is a very important rule number 4.5. Rule number 4.5. Administration expenses is actually rule number 7.1. Yes. So rule 7.1 explained. Rule 4.5, a very important rule. So please pay your kind attention. What is rule number 4.5? This is with respect to CSR implementation. So where the board of a company, the board of directors shall satisfy itself that the funds so dispersed have been utilized for the purposes and in the manner as approved by it. Approved by it means board means it is only CSR committee. And the CFO or the person responsible for the financial management shall certify to that effect. This is where it takes a new turn, new avatar. I will call it as Kalki avatar. And for your information, Institute through their website, I call this website as CSR committee website. Okay. CSR committee website, please look at this. So this is your website, and in this publication, they have brought a handbook on audit of CSR activities. First time, the concept of CSR audit has been discussed. Why? Because these developments. Okay, now please look at this, guys. I'll come to that. The board shall satisfy itself that the funds so dispersed. How the board will do it? So here, let me take an example. 50 lakhs. Let us take even companies like Infosys, ONGC. Let us take ONGC. They spend close to 180 or 190 crores for CSR. So close to 200. Infosys, they have spent close to 290 or 300 crores. Now, in various projects. Now, these are all disbursed. These are spent by the respective maybe entities. We can call it as third parties. And third parties, who are the third parties? In the original law, that means 135 on the respective rule, that is the company CSR policy rules 2014. They are mandated. If you are doing it to third party, it should be a entity with at least 3 years of standing. It can either be a Section 8 company or a trust or a society. So you give the money to them, it is spending. As far as in my books of account, it is spending. But say it is 50 crores, for 2% works out to 50 crores. So in your books of accounts, 50 crores is spent. But the money lies there. That is why the word called unspent CSR amount. So from your company, it goes to the third party, and third party has to spend it. So that is why this rule 4.5 is important. Board shall satisfy. How will satisfy? Now here the first aspect is CFO is the hand is kept on the CFO's head. The person responsible for financial management shall certify to that effect. Now how he will certify? So therefore, the need for CSR auditor, the need for utilization of the funds, project audit, CSR project audit emanates. So, in due course, and already many of the companies, they have mandated that whatever money will be contributed towards a project, you have to give a independent chartered accountant's audit report. Based on that, I will certify. CFO will certify. Because there will be 10 projects. 10 projects, I'll get 10 audit report. I'll give one CFO certificate. Now, for your information, these ideas is not new idea. It is already there. So, in the foreign contribution regulation law, an entity in India, when they are receiving foreign contribution from abroad, donation from abroad, donors, they insist, I will give you 5 crore, I will give you 50 crore for awareness, for AIDS awareness, for tsunami rehabilitation. So whatever funds I am giving, that particular fund will be audited, project fund will be audited by a respective panel of auditors, and for that fund alone, there will be a project audit report. So, they would have got, they are a mother body, and they would have got funds from funding agencies, and they are actually reportable to funding agencies For reporting to funding agencies, these minor utilization certificate or project audit report will be very useful. Same model. So maybe at the time of CSR section implementation 135 and the CSR rules, these things were not thought of. Now it is coming. Very interesting. So the board shall satisfy itself. So that is why this committee, CSR committee's role is very crucial. Okay. So the board of the company shall satisfy itself. So how will you do it? Okay. So rule 4.5. Now, I'll now take you to the next important point for discussion. Okay. That is CSR activities, which is the new definition. Please look at in the rule, point number 5 for discussion. Rule number 2D. Okay, definitions. So, rule 2, the following rule shall be substituted. So, the original rule, the new rule is substituted. All the definitions are amended. So, you have a 2.1D. Rule 2.1D, they have defined CSR. CSR is defined. So, I will bring your kind attention to this, and I will also share the respective. This is a technical guide which was published. So I'll just take some of the important aspect here. Okay, good. Now, please look at this particular point. Okay, so what is meant by the CSR project? Okay, look at this. CSR means activities undertaken by a company in pursuance of a statutory obligation. Doesn't mean that this definition is actually introduced recently. They have actually, this definition was already there, but recently this amendment has brought two important factors for your attention. The first is, in accordance with the provision, but shall not include the following. What is it? Activities undertaken in pursuance of normal course of business of the company. This is one very important point I will discuss. Second, I will also take you to the employees. Activities benefiting employees of the company. Now, I will give education. So, as per your schedule number 7 of the Companies Act, there are various points in schedule number 7. You have 12 points in it. Maybe one of the point I will take, promoting education. Okay, including special education and employment enhancing vocational skills, especially among children. Now, what I will do, this promoting education and vocational skills for employees' children, I will do. Is it CSR activity? Is the question. So they have mentioned it. Activities undertaken in pursuance. So what shall not include? Any activities benefiting employees of the company. So any activities benefiting employee of the company. Previously, the word was only. I repeat the word only was there. Now the word only is removed. Now what will be the impact of this? Okay, activities benefiting only employees of the company was there. Now I want to bring your kind attention to this particular point. This is the rule number 4. So one is the normal course, and the rule also specifies that CSR projects or programs that benefit only the employees and their families shall not be considered CSR activities. This was the original wordings. Now this word only is removed. So for your information, any activities where, I repeat the word, this education, skill-oriented education, it is given, children of the employees are also benefited. So previously, only I am doing only for the children of the employees. that is excluded. Now, I am doing public at large. There are 400 people I am training. Out of 400, 13 children are my employees' children. So whether it will come under this, this is one place where maybe you have, there is also a general circular which says you have to only interpret it liberally. So therefore, please look at this wording. So activities benefiting employees of the company, okay, so will not be considered as CSR. So this is one place where I will put my view. My view is, since the word only is removed, activities benefiting employees of the company. So that means out of 400, 13 children are also there. So that 13 will not be considered. Will not be considered. So we have to be very careful that so employees, activities benefiting employees of the company and their children should not form part of CSR. This is the outcome of these. So whenever the accounting part we are discussing, we need to, accounting actually will come third point. First is law, second is compliance, third is accounting. So LCA, first is law, the legal. So once we are clear with the legal part, compliance of the legal part is second, foremost thing, and then comes accounting. Accounting is, I am actually addressing chartered accountant. So here, what should be debited and credited discussion will not help us a lot. But we need to actually give a clarity where the recognition and measurement has to be done. For example, certain CSR activities would be carried out in kind. Would be carried out in kind. Say, some of the activities will be bought some, I will purchase some, okay, some cloth or some item and then I will distribute it. So that means technically there is a purchase and I had a goods, and the goods is actually given to the project third party entity or the project entity which is actually implementing that particular project, or we call it as IA, implementing agencies. So project implementing agencies, I am actually giving that course. So then how the accounting will be done if it is actually distributed in kind? Okay, can you do it in kind? I'll just bring your kind attention to that also. Okay, 2.1D. So after that, I'll take you to a very important aspect, sixth point. Expenditures in kind. So how to deal with that? So let me take you to a exclusive point here. Company may spend under the law in kind too. Can you say no to it? Can't. Now, it is important to find out whether spending in kind may be covered under CSR or not. So actually, no need to worry about it. Spending in kind is CSR, but there are some exceptions. You have to be very careful. Okay. What can be an example? A company acquiring goods and distributes in CSR project, which is allowed under current CSR provision as CSR spending. And I will take you to one very interesting decision. Mohammad Ahmed versus Union of India, where MCA gave an affidavit that a pharmaceutical company donating medicines within section 135 is a CSR activity, as the same is not an activity undertaken in pursuance of a normal course of business, is related to healthcare. Because this free medicine was given by a pharmaceutical company. A company manufacturing, dealing in goods or services itself free of charge as CSR spend may not be covered in CSR in view of Rule 4.1. But however, because of this decision, see, normally I am a pharmaceutical company. I manufacture drugs, okay, bulk drugs or retail drugs, and I will be selling those drugs. That is my normal course of activity. But MCA gave an affidavit, okay, that a pharmaceutical company donating medicines, because this was actually a against the government of India. So government of India gave an affidavit before the honorable court that donating medicines is within section 135. The same is not an activity undertaken pursuant of normal course of business. That is why this wordings, what do you call it, as a normal course of business. So anything which is in a normal course of business will not come under CSR. So that is very, very significant. Okay. Now I'll take you to another interesting scenario. Now, how will you actually go for accounting when these things happen? Is especially when you buy material and that material is actually issued free of cost for distribution. Normally, you are a trader or you manufacture certain products and you sell those products. One of your project is demands one particular product which you already manufacture it. So you set aside 20% of the stock for that. Then valuation of inventory. That valuation of inventory model will apply and you have to arrive at the value, and that only will be actually recognized as an expenditure, CSR expenditure. Now, if it is a plain vanilla scenario, how the entry will be? If it is you have overspent it more than 2%, how the journal entry will be, how you will carry forward. If it is underspent, that is unspent is there, then the shortage, how will you actually recognize? It's a liability you have to pay. So all this one by one, I'll try to bring it. Once this legal and compliance part is clear, accounting is very simple. So every time I'll try to bring those accounting aspects also parallelly. Okay. So a hospital rendering free medical services to 25% patient as per local government guideline may not be considered as CSR spend. See, in this COVID scenario, in this COVID environment and pandemic period, there were a lot of directions that you have to, the certain hospitals, they have to actually mandatorily, they have to give free medical treatment to certain percentage. The remaining, they can do commercial activity. They will refer. So people who are actually below the poverty line, who can't afford, and already government hospitals are full. So private hospitals only they have to cater, but they will not admit. So there a GO came. So there they admitted and charge was not done. Now that particular cost for them, can they treat that as include that as a CSR expenditure rather than debiting normally to the proportionate doctor's salary, the proportionate medical cost? All this they want to actually bring it under CSR expenditure so that they comply within the 2% norms, all this stuff. So it is not so, because it is as per the local government guideline. Okay. Now, a company manufacturing goods distributes, sells goods other than those which it manufactures in the normal course of business. Example, a manufacturer of steel rods manufactures steel beds. Okay. If these beds are sold, then it is not a CSR spend. However, giving it free of charge would be a CSR spend, as it would not be a normal activity of that particular cot making or furniture making company, because they give it free. So this is very important. We need to understand the backdrop before we go for the accounting. So CSR accounting is not very simple to actually do the accounting. We need to understand the first two steps, that is the legal and the compliance, so that we go for the accounting part of it. Now, yes. I'll now take you to implementation. Okay. So here, important part is this ongoing project. Okay. I'll come to this ongoing project after the unspent CSR. Now, I will take you to the respective regulation, the respective rule with respect to unspent. Now, please look at 7.2. seventh point for discussion. Yes. Any surplus arising out of CSR activity shall not form part of business profit of a company and shall be flowed back into the same project or shall be transferred to the unspent CSR account. Very important. So there are two things. Say, for example, there is some appreciation or you get profit out of certain activity. Say, you do education of the downtrodden, and during the education of the downtrodden for the 2 months or 3 months, you take care of them, you feed them. And during those 2 or 3 months, based on the skill set that was developed, they make some goods. And you are able to sell those goods. And you make some surplus out of it. The cost was only 4 lakhs, but you are able to sell for 10 lakhs. So 6 lakhs is surplus. So you are given the material and you have trained them. They made the goods and they themselves sold it, and 4 became 10. Now surplus 6. Now what is this? This 6, can I bring it into my normal books of accounts as profit? So any surplus arising out of CSR activities shall not form part of business profit of the company and shall be plowed back into the same project. So, for example, if the project cost is actually 24 lakhs and you have got 6 lakhs surplus, so add that 6 lakhs to the project cost, revise the budget, 30 lakhs, and maybe you can extend the project for another 3 months, add some more people or expand the beneficiary or expand the geographical area and then spend it. The surplus, you spend it. I'll just give you an interesting example from a foreign contribution perspective. Generally, a project will be for 2 year or 3 year, let us assume, and they send in US dollars, euro, Singapore dollar, okay, Australian dollar over a period of time. So I am in 2021. The project is 22, 23, and 24. So I estimate the total project is around 40,000 euros. And today, when I prepare the budget in INR, I will use the current exchange rate. And I will prepare my expenses, salary, everything, all administration plus all the project-related expenditures. Over a period of 3 years, when I get the money in tranches, the exchange rate increase. So I get an exchange gain of say 15 lakhs. In Indian rupees, I've gone 15 lakhs extra. In Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, once you receive the money, you cannot send it back. Now you are only supposed to receive in INR, say 2.5 crores, but you have received 2.65. So extra 15, you are not supposed to receive, but because of the gain you have received. Now will you give it back? In FCRA, you can't do that. So you have to write it back to the respective project donor. See, donor, you have sent this money, but we are not able to. We have done it everything, but now surplus is there. What to do? He will say, okay, you prepare another budget for, especially during this particular 1.5 years, 2 years, whenever the foreign contribution entities, they got these kind of exchange gain, the donor entities, they gave an additional mini project, which is called as COVID project. Okay, you do COVID related expenditure and use this, you spend it there. So please look at this. So any surplus arising cannot be, it should be plowed back into the same project. So make a sub project and then spend it. Or it shall be transferred to unspent CSR account within 6 months of the financial year end and spent in pursuance of CSR policy and annual action plan, or transfers the surplus into a fund specified in Schedule 7 within a period of 6 months of the expiry of the financial year. That's Rule 7.2. Now, Very important. This is rule 7.3. 8th point I am discussing. So far, only, and I will request the participants, whomsoever you have any query, please share your questions in chat or whatever mode that is possible. I will take up all those questions and I'll try to I'll answer all those queries. Now, we had this 2% to be spent. Now, what if I have spent 2.5%? Can I spend 1.5% in next year? I mean, second year. First year I spent 2.5%. Can I spend 1.5% in second year? I will say 2.5 plus 1.5 is 4. So 2 plus 2 is 4. I am satisfied. In the previous law, that means before this amendment came on 22nd January 2021. This is a pandemic amendment. So before the pandemic, it was 2%. And pandemic came. People, they spent more than 2%. They spent more than 2%. Genuinely. For what? By healthcare. For your information, as per Schedule 7, promoting healthcare, including preventive healthcare, sanitation, eradication hunger, including contribution to Swachh Bharat, all these are CSR activities. And disaster management, of course, COVID has been declared as a disaster. Okay. So therefore, I want to, people were spending, corporates were actually giving more than 2%. Some corporates are given 3%, some corporates are given spend 5%. So 3% excess. So in the next year, if should they have to again, on an average profit, 2% they have to spend? Since already they have spent 3% excess, can I carry forward? If you have to carry forward, then what is the entry? CSR expenditure, 2 crore only you have to spend. You have spent 5 crore. So then, CSR expenditure will be 2 crore and the balance 3 crore, you have to actually accumulate it as a CSR pre-spent. So what will be a journal entries? Your CSR expenditure 2 crore, your CSR pre-spent. Okay, pre-spent. Actually, you should have spent it next year, but you have pre-spent it. So 3 crore. 2 crore plus 3 crore to a bank account or cash account, whatever it is. So that 5 crore, 2 crore will go to CSR expenditure, that will be charged off to your revenue. 3 crore I will actually take to my balance sheet and over a period of time. So the next year when I am actually calculate my out of profits, what is my 2%? If out of 2% it is 2 crore. So already 3 crore is there pre-spent. Out of the 3 crore, 2 I will actually transfer to P&L. 1 I will again carry forward. This is how the pre-spent will be done because of this amendment. Because of this amendment. Where a company spends an amount in excess of requirement under subsection 5 of 135.5, that is 2%. Such excess amount may be, look at this word, may. I will bring your kind attention here, friends. May. So, may is not should. May is not mandatory. Meaning, no, I don't want to carry forward. 5% is current year spent. 2% is legal compliance. But I have complied more than 2%. Next year, you don't want to carry forward and next year profit karenge, wo profit pe 2% spend karenge. I don't want to carry forward at all. Choice is the board, CSR committee, and the board will decide. That has to be disclosed. So that reporting and disclosure will come. All these will come. So where a company spends an amount in excess of the requirement, such excess amount may be set off against the requirement to spend under subsection 5 of section 135 up to immediate succeeding 3 financial years. So now I am in which year? 21-22. So 21-22, you have spent 5 crores. That excess 3 crores, how many years you can carry forward? 21, 22 is current year. 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25. Now, out of these 3 years, 2 years is loss. You carry forward this. And in
Recording in
connect the
progress.
practical part of it. Now, I'm taking you to another very important rule. So 7-1, 7-2 over, 7-3 over. Now our ninth point for discussion is rule number 7-4. Yes. The CSR amount may be spent by a company for creation or acquisition of capital asset which shall be held by. I want to, this is one very important discussion. Very important. Capital asset. I'll bring your kind attention to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. I told you under foreign contribution laws, annually you get 12,000 crores minimum, let us say. That means monthly you get 1,000 crores. From 85 countries we get money. This money has to be received and it has to be spent. Money what is received from abroad is not for asset creation. Money what you receive from abroad is foreign contribution for education. So we call it a CS. So cultural, education, economic, religious, social activities. So these are the activities for which that particular law actually mandates. And very important, if I get foreign contribution, say I get 200 crores as a foreign contribution, free money. Out of that 10 crores I buy land, another 15 crores I buy building, I construct building, 25 crores I have land and building. Remember, this land and building is acquired out of foreign contribution source. And if at all any violation happens as per the law, that property will not, even though the property of land and building is in the name of the respective NGO, that land and building will be in the control of central government, Ministry of Home Affairs. So that is very important. So this is the logic, this is the analogy the Home Ministry has for application. Same analogy, they brought it for CSR also. Please look at this. The CSR amount may be spent. Look at the word may again. Look at the word may. So they don't say that you must capitalize it. No. If required. Actually, if at all you buy a truck, ambulance, is it a capital asset? Actually a capital asset, but over a period of 5 years, 6 years, it will actually depreciate and value will be gone. So that means you use it. So it will actually be consumed. But what if it is land and building? Okay. So may be spent for creation or acquisition of a capital which shall be held by. So very important. Very important. So you have 50 crores. You have to spend 2% works out to 50 crores. And one of the activities of CSR, okay, you have this Schedule 7, which says promoting health care, ensuring environmental sustainability, okay, protection of national heritage, art and culture. So you construct one building, have a lot of facilities there. So you all old art artifacts and you document a lot of literature so that the national heritage is restored or kept intact. Now, you need all those assets. Now, whether these assets will be created, so out of 50 crore, 10 crore you create assets, 40 crore you spend. Actually, 10 plus 40, 50 crore is spending only, technically speaking. But can you capitalize this 10 in your books of accounts? No. Actually, it should not come in your books. It should not come in my company's books. So 50 crore given. So capitalization should happen only in the books of the respective third party, the IA implementing agency. That is a company under Section 8. Okay, beneficiaries of the said CSR project, self-help groups, collectives, entities. So, or a public authority. Okay, so maybe if you are doing it for gender equality, empowering women, so there are public authority, women empowering department will be there, child empowerment department will be there. So national heritage, so you will have a department for protection of national heritage. So that department can own that particular property. It's very important. Now, what if you already own it? So they are giving time. Provided that any capital asset created by a company prior to commencement of this rule, 180 days will be given, which may be extended by a further period of 90 days with the approval of the board based on reasonable justification. Okay. So very, very important. So 180 days you have to transfer. So there is one particular aspect, all of you must note down this here, which is not discussed. That is, if at all the particular land and building or any assets is in the name of the company, now I will transfer it to the, I have not depreciated. I'm not supposed to depreciate also because I don't use it for business. So I have to transfer it in the name of Section 8 company, trust or registered society. When you do that, there will be additional stamp duty. Now, whether that stamp duty will qualify for CSR expenditure, my view is since it is expenditure done for compliance of the act, it is not a CSR expenditure because it doesn't go to the ultimate benefit of the people. Schedule 7, they give 12 items. So disaster management, slum area. You are not doing slum area. You are paying stamp duty. So paying stamp duty is not a CSR expenditure. Say that building is actually 10 crores. On 10 crores, you pay some 11%. 1.1 crore you pay. This 1.1 crore, can you bring it as part of your 2% cost. No, you cannot bring in a 2%. It is actually an expenditure. So other expenditure, administration expenditure. So these are all the accounting frills, maybe the other frills we need to actually understand with respect to this. So 7.4 is a very interesting amendment which they have brought. First time they have brought this amendment, and it's very interesting. I must tell you, this particular amendment is very, very interesting. Okay. Now, with respect to reporting, okay. Now I will bring it to your kind attention. We are actually at 3:08 now. I'll take another 10 more minutes, sir, and I'll try to share with you some more important changes. And after that, I will invite questions from participants. Okay, good. Most important discussion now is the 10th point for discussion. I'll take you to normal expenditure, CSR expenditure. Say, for example, it is 50 lakhs. Okay, 50 lakhs. Now, what to do? Okay. Now, I'll bring your kind attention to this. This is as per the general circular number. Board is free to decide whether any unspent amount out of the minimum required is to be carried forward to the next year. Board is free to decide. Okay. However, the carried forward amount should be over and above the next year's CSR allocation, equivalent to at least 2%. Now, those points leave it. Now, I'm coming for the important aspect here. How will you account this particular aspect in your books of accounts? Okay. This 12 and 13 point, I'll bring your kind attention. The proviso to 135 makes it clear that the specified amount is not spent. The director's report should disclose the reasons for not spending the amount. Now, those are all old provisions. In view of this and clarification, provision may not be made. This is the old one. Now, provision has to be made because you have to spend it, 2%. If you don't spend it, the remaining portion, you have to treat it as a unspent CSR amount. So, what is the present situation? Present situation is, say, out of 2 crores, 2% is 2 crores. You have only spent 50 lakhs. So, CSR expenditure to cash or bank 50 lakhs. Good. Whatever it is. Under that, there can be many sub ledger accounts. Remaining 1.5 crores you have not spent. So, then what to do? So, debit CSR expenditure 1.5 crore. Credit. I repeat the word. Credit to what? Credit, you have to create a liability. So what is your liability you will create? To CSR to be deposited in fund. To CSR unspent fund account. So CSR expenditure 50 lakhs to bank 50 lakhs. Balance 1.5 crore. CSR expenditure 1.5 crore. So that means you are recognizing 2%. You have to recognize 2%. That 1.5 crores, you have to create a liability in your balance sheet. That to unspent CSR account. This is most important aspect to be noted. Then, ongoing project. So this is one aspect which I should discuss. So treatment of unspent CSR amount, I already discussed. These are all the Q&A you can go through. Now, ongoing projects. This is something very interesting. Now, what is ongoing project? 2 crores you are committed. You are committed to a project, a third party. See, 2% is 2 crores. We are actually approving this, so please spend it. This is the project we have approved. But during the year, that the compliance part I will come. So implementation, reporting part I will come. That is also very important. In the ongoing project, there is a shortage. Now, what should we do with respect to an ongoing project? They have not spent that particular money. Now, 2 crore is 2%. They have spent 1.37 crore. Your third party has spent 1.37 crore. Balance is 73 lakhs. Sorry, 63 lakhs. 1.37 crore is spent. Balance is 63 lakhs. Now, from my books of accounts, I have given 63 lakhs to the third party. Can I say CSR has been spent? 2 crore is spent. It is ongoing project. It is not unspent. They don't say no. There is a delay because of maybe corona, pandemic, that some reason, whatever it is, medical or some reason, there is a delay. So they were not able to do it before a particular timeline. And I need to do the reporting. So you will know the timeline in the reporting. Now, how will I report it? Okay. So I will take you to the respect to provision with respect to report. So that then I will go there. So that ongoing project you will actually understand. The board's report of a company covered under these rules to any financial year shall include an annual report on CSR containing particular specified in Annexure 1 or Annexure 2 as applicable. So this is your Annexure. Format for the annual report on CSR activities, name of the director, etc. So amount available for set off. These are with respect to set off. Now, so amount unspent. CSR amount spent or unspent for the financial year. So this is with respect to unspent. So that is also clear. Now, ongoing projects. This is very important. This is what I was discussing. Please look at this. What is the serial number, name of the project, items from the list of activities in Schedule 7 of the Act. Okay, so Schedule 7 of the Act will say this is with respect to eradication of hunger, okay, rural development projects, so to mention that. Is it local area within the registered office or branch office? Yes or no, or some other area? Location of the project, state and district. Project duration as approved by the CSR committee. Amount allocated for the project, 2 crore allocated. Amount spent in the current financial year, 1.37 crore. Amount transferred to unspent CSR account for the project as per section 135. So whether balance is, if it is unspent, what you should do? So ongoing project, what you should do? So you transfer to unspent CSR account and then spend it. So thereby you are creating an obligation to spend it. Okay. Mode of implementation, direct. That means direct means the company itself is spending, okay, through the entity created by the company. So there that standing of 3 years is not required. Or implementing agency, what is the name and what is the CSR registration number? So that is why you have this form number CSR 1. So if you are doing it through a third party agency, you have to give that. So thereby 1.37 spent, balance 67 lakhs unspent, means transfer to unspent CSR account and then spend it. So thereby you are keeping it in that particular account reserved. So you have to spend it. So that is where the commitment. So now I'll take you to the particular provision. Where is the provision? Provision is here. Provision is above. The board's report covering this is Annexure 1. In case of a foreign company, the balance sheet filled under 380 shall contain an annual report. Every company having average CSR obligation of 10 crore or more in pursuant to subsection 135(5) in the 3 immediate preceding years shall undertake impact assessment through an independent agency of the CSR project having outlay of 1 crore rupees or more and which have been completed not less than 1 year before undertaking the impact study. First time it is done. Impact assessment. So, this was substantial money you have spent. That means you identified that there is a need to actually improve the sanitation, health care, poverty eradication, malnutrition eradication, okay, slum area development. That is why you are allocating funds. So, before allocating funds, what was the situation? After the fund distribution, what is the situation? This is called impact assessment. So, a report has to be. Today, you have the agencies who will do impact. It is almost equivalent to a post-project audit. It is post-project audit. So after the project, you do an audit and find out whether the effectiveness of the project. So it is called impact assessment. Okay. The impact assessment report shall be placed before the board and shall be annexed to the annual report on CSR. A company undertaking impact assessment may book expenditure towards CSR for that financial year, which shall not exceed 5% of the total CSR expenditure for that financial year or 50 lakhs, whichever is less. So this impact assessment, there will be a cost for it. So a company undertaking impact may book expenditure, may, not must, towards CSR for that financial year, which shall not exceed 5%. So therefore, impact assessment, whatever money you are spending, that also is included as part of your 5%, which shall not exceed 5% of the total CSR expenditure for the financial year or 50 lakh rupees, whichever is less. So very, very important. So maximum they have mentioned it as 50 lakh rupees, okay, or it your total expenditure is actually say 40 lakhs, okay, and where administration expenses is 25 lakhs. So 15 lakhs you can actually spend for impact assessment, not more than that. That is the idea of this particular provision. Very important. So all these will give you a, that is why I don't want to jump directly into accounting part. Your accounting part is very important based on your legal and your compliance. So legal first, compliance next, accounting last. So to understand accounting, the law and its compliance, law to what for you have complied, law to what extent it is not compliant, that will depend on where that actually has an impact on your accounting. So friends, I must appreciate and thank each and every one of you for this New Year Eve participation by each and every one of you towards this VCM virtual CPE meeting on accounting for CSR activities. I'll be open for any questions. So over to the tech support Jay and Shakun Goel for questions. Maybe through questions, I wish to actually add more points. So over to Jay and Shakun.
Yes, sir. So we have some queries. So first one is, it is to be noted that 5% is calculated on actual spend and not on the calculated 2% of the average net profit amount.
Can you repeat the question?
So they are saying that maybe there is confusion. There is a member, so he's confused. Maybe he's saying it is to be noted that the 5% is calculated on the actual spend and not on the calculated 2% of the average net profit amount.
Agreed, because the provision is very clear. The provision says it is 5% of the total CSR expenditure for the financial year. They don't say 5% of the what do you call this eligible 2% or mandatory 2% to be spent. Agreed. So we must thank the member. I don't know the name, maybe you know. So we must thank the member for bringing the clarity.
Yes, sir. Sir, CA Girish.
Girish. Yeah. So thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Girish.
So the next one is, a pharma company does not give drugs free normally. They always charge for it. Is that reason enough to say it is not in normal course of business?
What does the question actually signify? So meaning they don't give anything free of cost. So every drug, whatever they manufacture, it is priced. So that is
Yes,
their normal course of business.
yes, sir.
So that is a normal. And they may even bring schemes for every 5 strips, 2 will be free. All those. Those are all their normal course of business.
Yes, sir. So, can a mere resolution by CSR committee approving a proposal against which MOU and payment is signed made in the next year be treated as ongoing project for the financial year when the approval was granted?
This is a very important question, I will say, because during the year you make a profit, and average of the past 3 years you calculate, and you invite projects. So the decision will not be taken during the period. The decision is taken only the next year. Okay, so up to that point, let us have clarity, and I will request Shakun to again repeat that question, because that question is very important. Can you repeat?
Yes, sir. Sir, can a mere resolution by the CSR committee approving a proposal against which MOU and payment is signed made in the next year be treated as ongoing project for the financial year when approval was granted?
Yeah, definitely. So you mean to say once it is approved, it is an ongoing project only. So funds has to be taken to the reserve. Maybe during the year, let me take an example. The 2% works out to, there is only one project, let us take. The 2% works out to say 50 lakhs. And the CSR committee approves a particular project, they sign. And out of 50 lakhs, the entire 50 lakhs is 2%, and they are ready to actually spend. But the project will take actually 6 months or 7 months or even 1 year or 1.5 years. Now, out of this 50 lakhs, what is spent is only 10%. So that means only 5%, 5 lakhs is spent. The remaining 45 lakhs is not spent. So 45 lakhs I have to transfer to an unspent CSR account. Sometimes the entire 100% would not be spent. It will be only in the, it is only approved, only signed. So entire 100% you have to transfer to unspent CSR account. It's a very valid and a vital question.
So the next one, whether the renovation of the crematorium in a rural area can be treated as CSR expenditure?
Okay, so it is not an accounting question, but interpretation of the Schedule 7. So can you repeat that type of activity again?
It's a crematorium renovation.
Okay, so crematorium renovation where?
So in a rural area.
Very good. So my view, I will just submit it, because you have a general circular which says the Schedule 7 has to be interpreted in a liberal sense. Now, in Schedule 7, we have 12 items. Okay, one of the items is called Rural Development Project. And rural development, you have to interpret in a maybe a liberal sense, where my view is crematorium is a very, I will call it as an important subject, especially with respect to rural, because there the dead bodies, whether to they dafan karna hai or they want to burn it, so there will be a process, especially you want to actually bury the dead body or you want to burn it, you need a place, you need the what do you call it as various support system. So rather than having the traditional system, they modernize it and they spend some money towards it. Actually, it is people actually they migrate to city. Why? Because in city you have a modern crematorium. In rural you don't have crematorium at all. So we need to shatter all those things. The corporates have to actually give that confidence. No, we are also with you only. Wherever people die, the same kind of kriya will be done with respects only. It will be done. So this, my view is debatable, but my humble view is it will come under rural development project. It's a very, very noble thought of modernizing a rural crematorium.
The next one is for a Section 8 company who actually implement projects, are there any specific guidelines to account for the fixed assets being created by the project?
I wish to make one observation here. During the course of implementation of the CSR project, if any fixed asset is created, that fixed asset should be actually transferred. That is what the present rule says. If it is already created, it should be transferred within 180 days, maximum another 90 days extension. And post this amendment in the rule from January 2021, any fixed asset purchase from the fund allocated should be only in the name of the implementing agency or with respect to the self-help group who are actually going to do that particular, they are going to implement that particular project. So therefore, the existing, even though funds belong to the company, with respect to implementation, they need to bring out maybe an accounting manual or a policy with respect to, because it will be actually, the bill will be given to them. For example, they may give a bill for purchase of a table, chair, and filing cabinet, and all those stuff required for a particular office. Now, can I capitalize it in my books of accounts? No. It is a CSR expenditure. So even though it is a capital item, it will not, because I'm not going to use it for my ordinary course of business. So it will, bill can be in the name of the company, but payment you are giving there. So it is only a CSR expenditure. It is not to be capitalized. I repeat the word, not to be capitalized. You will have two bills. From Godrej, you will buy the table, chair and furniture for your office. That you will capitalize. Same Godrej, you will buy table, chair and furniture for your implementing agency's office. That you cannot capitalize. That will form part of a CSR expenditure. So 4 lakhs capitalized for your company, which you are going to use it for your business. Another 4 lakhs, you are that particular asset is going to be agency. You have to see expenditure only. You cannot capitalize it. Better to have a very clear. I will call it as fixed asset account. I will call it as CSR expenditure accounting manual or CSR accounting manual, rather than calling it as a fixed asset accounting manual.
Yes, sir. So the next one is, will remeasurement of defined terminal benefit liability, OCI, shall be considered for calculation of profit in regard to CSR?
This is actually a good question. Now I will take your kind attention to the, since the question is with respect to the definition part, I will take you to, please look at this. Net profit. So this is your net profit definition. Net profit of a company as per its financial statement prepared in accordance with the applicable provisions of the Act, but shall not include the following. So what is it? Any profit arising from overseas branch or branches of the company, whether operated as a separate company or otherwise, and any dividend received. Now I'll give some more clarity on this, especially with respect to the question raised. So I'll take you to the page number here. Please look at this, especially this part. Net profit in respect of a financial year for which the relevant financial statements are prepared in accordance with the provisions of the Companies Act shall not be required to be recalculated in accordance with the provisions of the Act, and provided further in case of a foreign company, so that part is not applicable. So net profit in respect, now I'll just put a question to all of you. This part, will it be including profit or excluding profit? So what is the, will it be including tax or excluding tax? Profit before tax or profit after tax? Because as per your schedule 3, I will go by your Schedule 3 format. First is your total income. So all your income put together is total income. Then your total expenses. So minus that your profit. On profit, you subtract your taxes, which is your current tax and deferred tax. Then you get profit for the year. Now, which profit you will take? Will you take profit for the year after tax or before tax you will take? So that is the only point I will leave it to you. Whether will it be PBT or PAT, maybe we'll invite answers from the members. In the meantime, we'll go for the next question.
So the next question is, when to account for penalty on non-compliance under section 135(7) for financial year 21 in financial year 21 itself or financial year 22 after September 30th, 2021.
Can you repeat that question again?
So when to account for penalty on non-compliance under section 135(7) for financial year 21 in financial year 21 itself or financial year 22.
Okay, so that means you are very clear that I am not going to comply the law. So I am ready for the penalty. So you want to actually recognize the penalty, which is quite serious. But you want to recognize that as an expenditure in your books of accounts because your intention is not to comply law. That actually it shows. By actually recognizing the penalty amount, you are actually committing yourself the intention of not complying to the law. So I will reserve my comments with respect to this particular question. Maybe you can send me a query offline. I will answer this particular question.
Okay. Sir, a pharma company, if it does CSR by giving free drugs at a clinic, can it be treated as CSR? The pharma company is giving the drugs at clinic only.
Generally, pharma companies, their normal course of business, let me explain what this normal course of business is. Very it is not it depends upon their business practices. Now what is their business practices? In clinics, when you say clinics where individual doctors or a group of doctors they practice, individual doctors and group of doctors, the pharma companies, it is not one pharma company's practice, it is the pharma companies conglomerate their normal business practice that the whatever the drugs, the new drugs or the new variants, it will be given free of cost or as a sample to the doctors so that they give their feedback. So maybe they may give it or they may sell it or whatever it is, that is a different thing. It is only distributed to get feedback from the doctors. Second, the doctor should prescribe that particular medicine and so many other business reasons. So therefore, the free distribution to clinics, it is not beneficiaries. They are not actually project beneficiaries. Doctors or clinics, they are not project beneficiaries. Of course, through doctors, it may go to the respective patients free of cost. I also agree to that, but I don't vouch the model of giving a free distribution of medicines to clinics as a CSR expenditure, because it actually adds value, add to their business model only. So what they have, that is why when you look at the implementing agencies, they have not brought individuals or corporates or partnership firms, etc. They have only brought implementing agencies as Section 8 company or society or the trust, and who have got 3 years of standing. So that is why the provisions are very clear.
So the next one is no MOU has been signed, no payment has been given to NGO. So how can it be considered as ongoing project?
Okay, good. Actually, I have to again take you to a definition of ongoing project, so that we are this is the definition of ongoing project, which has been amended through the notification 22nd January. So I think this will rest the discussion of this query as well as the previous query. Ongoing project means a multi-year project undertaken by a company in fulfillment of its CSR obligation, having timelines not exceeding 3 years. So very important. So first is 21-22 is your 2021 is your financial year, and in 21-22 you decide. Okay. So there the timeline should be not exceeding 3 years. So that you can call it as an online project, excluding the financial year in which it was commenced. So that means 21-22 excluded, remaining 3 years, not exceeding 3 years. So you cannot include 21-22. If you decide on 21-22, 22-23, 23-24, 24-25. That's what deadline is 24-25. And shall include such project that was initially not approved as a multi-year project, but whose duration has been extended beyond 1 year by the board based on reasonable justification. Now, I will also bring your kind attention to the FAQ, because the FAQ actually will give a little more clarity on that. Now, please look at in FAQ, they have given 7 questions. Okay. And I will, since I only, when overall I have discussed this, I will now give a much detailed discussion on this. What is the meaning of ongoing project? So, a multi-year project stretching over more than 1 financial year, having a timeline not exceeding 3 years, includes such product that was initially not approved as a multi-year project, but whose duration has been extended beyond 1 year by the board based on reasonable justice. What is the meaning of this? Including project which was initially not approved as a multi-year project. That means you will complete it within 21-22, within 31st March 22, but whose duration has been extended beyond 1 year. Meaning, because of pandemic, because of the beneficiaries, because of the geographical reach, it will extend beyond 1 year. So that is also should be treated as ongoing project. So 2021 spend, if you decide on 21-22 and close it before 22, it is not ongoing project. It should go beyond 22. So that is the first criterion. When will an ongoing project be regarded as commenced? This is the question that was raised by the queries. An ongoing project would have commenced when the company has either issued the work order pertaining to the project or awarded the contract for execution of the project. Okay, so that means the agreement should have been signed. Else, it is not an ongoing project. So, what is the maximum permissible time period for an ongoing project? Okay, can time period of an ongoing project be extended beyond permissible period? That is 3 years. As per the definition of the ongoing project, the maximum permissible time is 3 years. From its color is 1 plus 3. So, 2021 applicability, you have to decide on 21-22 plus 3 years. Under no circumstances, the project can be extended beyond this permissible limit. So that means you have to design a project only for 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year. You have to start on 21-22 and award for 3 years so that it will complete before 3 years. Even international projects, if you take many of the international projects, none of the international projects are beyond 3 years. So these are all international models of an ongoing project. What are the responsibilities of the board in case ongoing projects are undertaken by the company? In case ongoing project, major responsibilities: identification of the ongoing projects, year-wise allocation of funds, transferring the unspent money to a separate bank account as prescribed under 135(6), that is called unspent CSR account, and keep that money there so that from that account you will actually transfer it. Monitoring the implementation of the project with reference to the approved timelines and year-wise allocation, and make modification, if any, for smooth implementation of the project. Okay. So I am sure you have got clarity with respect to signing. You have got clarity with respect to 3 years. You have got clarity with respect to 1+3. You should have got clarity with respect to that unspent CSR amount to be parked in a separate bank account. So then, can ongoing projects be implemented through implementing agency? Okay, yes. Implementing agency, provided you satisfy the criteria of 3 years. So once a project approves a project as an ongoing, then it can choose to implement the project either itself through their own promoted Section 8 company or trust or society, or through an implementing agency. Does the board have the power to abandon or modify an ongoing project within the permissible period of 3 years? Maybe if not possible to continue, okay, they can do so. So as per the provision, the board may abandon partially or wholly under exceptional circumstances, because maybe the implementing agency, they are not able to continue. They are finding difficulty in implementing that project. So during the prescribed project period, as per the recommendation of the CSR committee, and by providing reasonable justification. This is very important here. So that means 1+3 years, you actually spend, say for example, out of 15 lakhs, you spend only 15 lakhs. Balance 35 is not spent. Now what to be done? It is important to keep in mind that the maximum permissible period for ongoing project is 3 years, excluding the year of its commencement. So therefore, maybe you have to find an alternative, somebody else to actually continue that particular project, and or maybe the project itself can take a different a new project can come. Now, if a new project has come instead of that existing project, now what should happen to it? So please wait. Can funds earmarked for one project be used for another project? This is what it is. For example, 1+3. 1 year, another 1 year is over. You discontinue. So balance 2 more years is there. Now that money, can I use it for another project? Okay. Or if another implementing agency is coming and continuing that particular project instead of A, B is doing, very good. Now that project itself can't be done. No, it's very difficult. You have local problem, political problem, people problem, lot of things are there. So you drop the project, you go to, instead of what do you call it as promoting healthcare, you go for gender equality, you go for empowering women. Such projects you take. So you take a different project. So yes, the budget outlay dedicated for one project can be used against another project. In such a case, the board and CSR committee should appropriately record the alteration in the target spending and modify the same in accordance with the actuals. Now here, the interesting part is the new project, will it have the same 3 years? No, because the fund belongs to a particular year which has to be spent. So therefore, the new project, the law is silent here. I want to say the law is silent. The new project, will it have again 1+3 years? My views, no, new project will not have 1+3 years. It will have only the remaining lifetime to actually spend. So which has to be done. So you have to design in such a project where the lifetime completes, the project lifetime is within that 1+3 years time. Okay. So very important.
So the next one is, can company funded employee and his family vaccination for COVID-19 will be covered for CSR?
Can you repeat?
So can company funded employee and his family vaccination for COVID-19 will be covered for CSR?
I think the first part of the question I'm still not clear. Can you repeat?
Sir, if any company funded for the employees and their family for vaccination, so will it be covered under CSR?
Good question. Very good question. This is actually covered under 10th April 2020. 10th April 2020, there is a FAQ on COVID-19. So I will just take that particular FAQ and you have an answer in that particular FAQ. Okay. So this is that. This is that particular FAQ. The COVID-19 related FAQ on CSR. Now, this is with respect to employees. Now, please look at this question here. Whether payment of salary, wages to employees and workers, including contract labor, during the lockdown period can be adjusted against the CSR expenditure of the company. So this question doesn't come under this. Whether payment of wages made to casual or daily wage worker during the lockdown period can be adjusted against the CSR expenditure of the company. Okay, so this question also doesn't come under this. Of course, payment of wages to temporary, casual, daily or during the lockdown period shall not count towards CSR expenditure. They are given the clarity. Whether payment of ex gratia to temporary casual workers shall qualify as CSR expenditure. So they also say if ex gratia payment is made to temporary casual worker and above, and specifically for the purpose of fighting COVID-19, same shall be admissible to a CSR expense as a one-time exception, provided there is an explicit declaration to that effect by the board of the company, which is duly certified by the statutory auditor. Now here, if at all this payment has been given, no, you want to actually get vaccinated, so additional payment of 150 rupees for dosage 1 and 200 rupees for dosage 2, or first dosage 500, second dosage 500, 1000 rupees I'm giving ex gratia. So that will come under this, but this is only for temporary casual daily wage worker. But with respect to your temporary casual daily wage worker, but with respect to your regular employees who are on your rolls, the FAQ has already silent on that, but your rule is very clear, because your amended rule very clearly says here that CSR activity, okay, shall not include activities benefiting employees of the company. So the COVID-19 vaccination for the employees and their employees' family will come under your welfare of the employees, but it will not come under CSR expenditure.
Right, sir. So the next one is, a company wants to open a Section 8 company to execute its CSR obligation through it. Whether such a Section 8 company can be formed by share capital brought in by either a foreign company or a foreign shareholder which wants to start the CSR project immediately. Any FCRA regulations to be followed, example, waiting period for 3 years, etc. Kindly explain.
Actually, I must appreciate the member. Can you name the member so that we will appreciate the member for the kind of question they have put up? Because a lot of rule I need to actually refer here. So first point, with respect to formation of Section 8 company by a company for CSR project is allowed. Second, your question is who will be the promoter? The promoter is not an Indian resident shareholder, but a foreign shareholder. The provisions of the law nowhere prohibits a foreign shareholder not to promote a Section 8 company. But how the moment a foreign shareholder is part of that Section 8 company, the board will form part of a non-resident. And as far as with respect to Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, I repeat, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, only when the funds are brought from abroad, I repeat, funds are brought from abroad, and the concept of FCRA, the regulation of FCRA will apply. So here, formation of Section 8 only is done by a foreigner or a non-resident. So a non-resident, say, let us say he is in Singapore. He is an Indian born, but he is there in Singapore and he is having the Singapore passport. But a Section 8 company is formed and he is the director of that Section 8 company. Let us take an example. Point number 2. Who will actually implement that particular project? Implementing agency is that particular Section 8 company. Now, fundamental question will come. What is the fundamental question? You are going to implement a project in India but the direction for implementing that particular project, operational direction will come only from Singapore. So, what is the locus standi here? So, why you want to have that particular what do you call it as a director who is abroad? So, the CSR committee has to actually, as far as law is concerned, my humble view is there won't be any restriction, and there is no need with respect to Foreign Contribution Regulation Act also, because the company which is going to contribute is an Indian company, and company doesn't have the more than 50% foreign shareholder. We presume that, or more than 100% foreign company subsidiary is not there. Maybe only 1 or 2% foreign shareholder is there. That 1 or 2 shareholder, if he is promoting this Section 8 company, my humble view is with formation there won't be any issue, but with respect to project implementation, the CSR committee has to ensure what will be the locus standi or the model in which that particular project can be monitored or supervised by a person who is a resident. This question will be unanswered. So there will be a practical issue with respect to implementation. Apart from that, there won't be any legal issues.
Right, sir. I want to add on, sir. We had a VCM last Friday on FCRA, applicability of FCRA to CSR funds. So members can also visit the same on ICI TV for FCRA. So the next question is there any legal obligation on a Section 8 company to return any unspent of the new rules?
So this is an important question. For example, the project is 50 lakhs. 42 lakhs is spent. And I have dispersed the remaining 8 lakhs also to the entire 50 lakhs is dispersed. Out of 50 lakhs, implementing agency has spent 42 lakhs. And the project is over. Now 8 lakhs surplus is there. Okay. Now, I mean, the 8 lakhs, it is not surplus, 8 lakhs is unspent. Now, what to do with this unspent money? Actually, unspent money, you have a regulation 7.2. I will again reiterate that particular regulation so that you have a clarity on that part. Yes. Please look at this. Any surplus arising out of CSR shall not form part of the business activity or shall be transferred to the unspent CSR account and spent in pursuance of CSR policy and annual action plan of the company. Good. So this is with respect to the surplus which has or shall be transferred to the unspent account. Now, you have already transferred the money and they have not spent it, which you don't have an answer in 7.2. So then what to do? So technically, can you get that money back? So that means project, it is as far as a Foreign Contribution Regulation Act is concerned, once you get the donation from abroad, you cannot give that money back because FCRA rule says one way money can come inside India. But here it is not a foreign contribution law. It is actually an Indian company which is actually giving its 2% of their average annual profits to a implementing agency. So they have to spend. So there is a project and out of 50 lakhs, 42 is spent. Now 8 is unspent. Now unspent means they have to, the money doesn't belong to them. So they have to give it back. And I have to find another means to spend it. So that means I have to receive it and I have to keep it in an unspent CSR account only. It cannot be there with the respective implementing agency. So either it should come back, I should park it in unspent CSR account, or I have to request my implementing agency to have a sub project or an extension of this project to cover more beneficiaries and then get the approval of the CSR committee to spend that 8 lakhs. Else, point number one, it should come back to me and I have to park it in unspent CSR account and find an alternative for it. So that is another project. That's it. So thank you very much, Shakun Goel, for this wonderful opportunity. Hope I have covered and answered majority of the question. Maybe if anything else is there, I'll take one last question.
Okay, sir, we can take one last question. In the case of capital spend, will the entire amount of assets will be considered as CSR spend to comply with 2%, or only the annual depreciation part will be considered?
There is no question of depreciation here. So we have to first of all forget the accrual concept in CSR spending. CSR doesn't bother about accrual concept at all. Only with respect to your accounting and aspect you need to worry about it. As far as CSR is concerned, can you repeat your question once again?
Yes, sir. In case of capital spend, will the entire amount of asset will be considered as CSR spend to comply with 2%?
Yes. Answer is yes. But you need to understand that acquisition of capital asset alone is not going to serve the purpose. So your project, that means it has a defect. Your CSR committee has not applied your mind. So your CSR committee has to apply the mind saying what is your total project cost. Total project cost is say 75 lakhs. And out of 75 lakhs, there is a need for capital asset of say 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs. The remainder, you have to use those capital asset for the benefit. You need some ambulance, you may need some equipment. So all this stuff, so it cannot be said that the entire cost is capital asset. Then what is the benefit you are actually extending to the respective beneficiaries? There can be projects like people who have lost their homes. You want to construct homes for them. Will it qualify under schedule number 7? Like for example, we have, I'll take those. Let us say rural development project. You construct 300 square feet mortar constructed building, and you allot to 400 square feet or 300 square feet. You construct and give. You construct. We have this. What do you call it as Swachh Bharat? In Swachh Bharat, they say the toilets and Sulabh. You have to construct it. So all those, even though it will look like a capital project, it is not capital project. Those are all CSR expenditures only. So we need to first come out of our shell. Being a chartered accountant, we need to come out of our shell that what was considered as a capex in your normal business activity is not capex under CSR. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving your valuable time and enhancing our knowledge. You are the regular faculty of our CSR certificate course also. So it is always pleasure to hear you. So thank you so much. A formal vote of thanks from the CSR committee. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.